Welcome to the Payoff Pitch Prospect Report. I'm Paul Valley. Adley Rutschman, the Orioles' #1 overall pick in the draft this year, made his professional debut this past week. He's played 4 games for the Gulf Coast League Orioles, and he's 3 for 11 in those 4 games. He homered in his first game, a 440-foot moonshot off his bat. And he was actually intentionally walked in his 3rd professional game in a Gulf Coast League game, which just doesn't happen. So reputation definitely preceding himself. Adley Rutschman off to a good start. We should see him in Aberdeen before the week is over. And it's probably going to be a madhouse out there because Harford County, the Aberdeen Ironbirds Stadium, easily accessible to most of the Baltimore area. So I expect to see a lot of sellouts once Rutschman gets to the Aberdeen level. Today we're going to have a little bit more fun with the show. Not that the other shows haven't been fun, but we're going to talk about some namesakes for the Orioles. First off is 23-year-old outfielder in the Aberdeen Ironbirds organization, and that's Dalton Hoyles, the son of the former Orioles catcher Chris Hoyles. Dalton's off to a .320 start with a .485 on-base percentage for Aberdeen, so he's been swinging a hot stick as of late. He was as a senior at Shippensburg College up in Pennsylvania. He had .362 with 10 home runs and 22 doubles, which led the Atlantic League that year. So this is a guy who's an outfielder with some solid speed, a pretty solid defender who has pop that hasn't translated to the major league, to the professional level, yet. But with more playing time and more exposure, we could see some more pop out of Dalton Hoyles' bat. So this is a nice young player who's playing well for the Ironbirds right now. Next guy, Preston Palmeiro, the 24-year-old son of former Oriole first baseman Rafael Palmeiro. Palmeiro was a big-time slugger and first baseman for the Orioles, and Preston's been pretty much following suit as a senior at NC State. He hit .331 with 9 home runs and 55 RBIs, which prompted him to be drafted in the 7th round by the Orioles. His first full season of professional baseball in 2017 at Delmarva, he hit .253 with 13 home runs, 77 RBIs, and 27 doubles, prompted a promotion in 2018 to Frederick, where he hit .251. In 4 more games, he actually struck out 28 less times, and the power numbers went up. He had 17 home runs, drove in 64 runs. So Preston Palmeiro, profiling as a pretty powerful hitter in that Orioles organization. He got promoted to Bowie this year and got off to a slow start. He was hitting below 200 for much of the season, but since June 13th, 31 games, he's hitting .307 with a .374 on base percentage. I'm sorry, .372 on base percentage, which has raised that average up to .225. Still just the 4 home runs and 32 RBIs, so the power's down. But this is a guy who has proven that once he gets some significant playing time at each level, he has power. So probably won't see him at the major league level for a couple of years, if ever. But this is a guy who I would not be surprised to lead Bowie in home runs going into next year and then get promoted up to AAA at some point. So really nice few seasons out of Preston Palmeiro. And then the last prospect that we're going to talk about today is the 25-year-old son of former Orioles shortstop, 3rd baseman, and Hall of Famer Cal Ripken. Yes, we're talking about Ryan Ripken. Ryan Ripken, he actually got drafted by the Orioles in the 20th round in 2012. He opted to go to the University of South Carolina instead. Made a baseball move and decided to go play at Indian River Community College in Fort Pierce, Florida. Just kind of gave him an opportunity to play more there. He wasn't getting much playing time. He actually got cut from the South Carolina roster and decided to use a redshirt freshman year so that he wouldn't lose eligibility. Went to Indian River Community College and actually played pretty nicely there. Hit .321 with a .374 on base percentage in his lone season in 2014, which got him drafted in the 15th round by the Washington Nationals. Ended up back in the Orioles organization. He's 6'6", 205 pounds. Again, hitting .273 at Frederick. Got promoted up to Bowie, and he's 5 for his first 12 at Bowie. So nice to see a guy like Ryan Ripken making the most of his opportunities and swinging a nice stick down in the minor leagues. Again, this is another guy I'm not sure that we're ever going to see him at the major league level unless it's a September call-up while the Orioles are bad. Nothing against the guy. I just don't think that he profiles as a major league player. But fun to have 3 guys like Dalton Hoyles, Preston Palmeiro, and Ryan Ripken in the Orioles organization, considering what their fathers did for this franchise. That's going to do it for me on the Payoff Pitch Prospect Report. Once again, I'm Paul Valley. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you next week.